Welcome back to Off the Boulevard. I'm Emma Starks.
And I'm Madeline Wing.
Today we have a great show for you guys. We're going to start off with news from Armand and Jake, and then weather from Olivia.
Then we'll have sports with Jake and Sean, and we'll finish with a debate with Armand and Elsie. Stay tuned after the break.
And my name is Armand Al-Husseini, and here's your news update today.
All right. Hot off the release of her newest album, Reputation, Grammy Award-winning artist Taylor Swift, along with her backup singers and dancers, was spotted purchasing her own record at a Target store Tuesday evening in Nashville, Tennessee. The pop star's trip to the superstore was documented on her Instagram story before eventually being reported by the Nashville Tennessean. This instance is not the first in which Swift has voyaged to the red retailer to buy her own product. Taylor stated on her Instagram story that it's becoming tradition to purchase her own album immediately following its release. Not surprisingly, Swift's casual appearance in the superstore was quickly followed by an impromptu meet and greet among the stunned Target shoppers. While surely helping her public image, Swift probably doesn't need her own purchase to boost sales figures. According to Billboard, Reputation has sold over 1 million copies within its first week on shelves, already making it the best-selling album of 2017.
Medical researchers have announced that they identified their first case of chronic traumatic encephalopathy in a living person, former NFL player Fred McNeil, who died in 2015. The degenerative brain disease, CTE, has been said to be the cause of many deaths in former NFL players in recent years, publicized by the movie Concussion starring Will Smith. Dr. Bennett Omalu, portrayed by Smith in the film, led the studies that brought CTE to light and was again the lead author in the study of McNeil, who was believed to have been discovered with the disease in 2012 with a detailed brain scan which discovered a signature protein of the disease called tau. Showing the first documented biological trait of CTE in a living person, McNeil's behavioral changes were also accurate to past players who suffered with the disease, more strengthening the case of CTE to be the fault in his death. With CTE being a leading developer in the NFL's concussion crisis, this study, along with others, has led to the fear for not only current and future players of football, but for the future of the sport as a whole.
Christmas season is just around the corner, folks, and one company is counting down the days in a particularly festive, if not offensive, manner. Greggs, a successful British bakery chain that serves customers across the United Kingdom, has received fervent backlash from the Christian community after replacing baby Jesus with an oversized bitten sausage roll in their most recent Advent calendar. Christians took to Twitter to voice their outrage over Greggs' unique interpretation of the nativity scene, with Simon Richards of the Freedom Association going so far as to insist people, quote, boycott against Greggs' sick anti-Christian Advent calendar, end quote. When asked about the uproar, a Greggs spokesman came forward to apologize for their mishap, stating that they were, quote, sorry to have caused any offense. This was never our intention, end quote.
On Thursday, 210,000 gallons of oil leaked from the Keystone Pipeline in South Dakota, causing the crews to shut down in the morning and investigate the cause of the leak. Occurring 3 miles southeast of the town of Amherst, this is officially the largest Keystone oil spill in South Dakota, surpassing the 16,800 gallon spill in April of 2016. Since the pipeline is below ground, the state has said that, quote, it will be a few days until they can evacuate and get in borings to see if there is groundwater contamination, end quote, even though some oil resurfaced above grass. Stretching over 2,600 miles and into the great state of Texas, the pipeline has been subject of multiple protests since the proposal of its expansion, the Keystone XL pipeline, notably since President Trump issued a legal permit for construction of it. As the leak gives the state fear for their safety in the environment, the company has said that they will concur further investigation to make sure everything moves smoothly.
When you shop local in the heart of the city, you support the people that make our community thrive. The money you spend here stays here, in this place we call our home. Lawrence, Kansas, where there's good old-fashioned hometown pride. Eat local, drink local, shop local.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
Hello, welcome back to Off the Boulevard. I'm Jake Kaufman.
I'm Sean Goswin.
And just like every week, we're going to be bringing your sports today.
Yeah, we have a very basketball-heavy show today, but we'll start off first with football and volleyball. So first up, football. Kansas taking off beat Texas. Couldn't repeat.
Yeah, last year on senior night, KU beat Texas 24-21. That was not the case this year as Texas beat KU 42-27. Although KU did cover the spread, which was nice to see, first time in a while. Their record drops to 1-9 on the season. And as for Coach Beatty, now 3-31 as head coach and 1-24 in Big 12 play. But still, surprisingly, there hasn't been a lot of talk about if his job is, there hasn't been a lot of talk about him not being here next year. But actually the what's his name? The chancellor, Doug Duran, he actually gave his support for Coach Beatty, saying that this is a process, and he does agree with the way that the program's going. Although they've had their on-the-field challenges for the future, he still is sticking with Beatty, unlike how with Charlie Weiss, and he's just giving Beatty more of a chance. And what have you been seeing from the games this past week, and even the Baylor game, where KU football has had some maybe slight improvements in some particular players, but as a whole team, they just haven't been able to get the job done with the record.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Doug Gerard, chancellor, as well as the athletic director Zenga, also says they support him. But I mean, we're really not seeing much improvement at all, especially on the offensive end. Most recently, when they played Texas with the loss. A high-scoring game for KU, 27 points, but we did see 3 interceptions, along with 3 touchdowns from Carter Stanley. So, up and down game. But heading into Oklahoma, I mean, number 4 team in the country, Baker Mayfield, arguably best quarterback in college game right now. It's going to be a rough time for KU, I'm sure.
Yeah, you mentioned Baker Mayfield. He's one of the front runners to win the Heisman this year. Right now at a 37-point favorite to win this game. And really, I could see this KU covering the spread, and I could see them getting blown out by, like last year, where they're losing 56-3. Because OU, they have to make a statement to the college football playoff committee by beating KU by such a large margin. Again, would really prove their stance that they are part of the top teams with Alabama, not even Georgia anymore, excuse me. But so I could see this game going Oklahoma playing conservatively, taking out their players and focusing for the bigger picture with the Big 12 championship. Or I could see them going for style points and literally curb stomping this KU team and just blowing them out of the water. The only thing I think KU could potentially have going for them in this game is the deep ball. OU, the Sooners have given up a lot of passes on the deep ball. They're ranked, I believe, second worst in the nation, giving up over like 30-yard passes or something like that. And so they're going to utilize Sims a lot, I believe, but I still don't think this KU team will have any chance of sticking up with this high-powered Oklahoma offense, which is more high-powered than we've even seen in the past couple of years with their running game as well.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on with KU volleyball as well. We've now seen back-to-back sweeps for them, or against them really. First was a loss against Baylor, and then went onwards, and they've also been now swept against Texas as well, who clinched the Big 12 title.
Yeah, we've been talking about the past couple of weeks how KU volleyball really hasn't been hitting their stride lately. They've had, although they've won the games against K-State and Oklahoma a couple of weeks ago, they were games that shouldn't have been as close as they were. And this week against Baylor and Texas, we really saw them take a dip. Not even just losing, but losing 3 sets to none in both games. And with that win, Texas clinched at least a share of the Big 12. KU won the Big 12 last year, is no longer going to be that's no longer going to be the case. KU also running for the Big 12 title, as you said, with the sweep by Baylor. First time since 2010 Baylor even beat KU in Lawrence, so that was a surprise in itself. Kelsey Payne closing in on the kills record for KU. Only 6 kills in that game on 23 swings. Just the whole team, we're just seeing tiredness and fatigue now. Yeah, and KU for volleyball this week, we play Texas Tech in Lubbock at 6 p.m.
Yep.
But now, the one exciting thing we can say about KU athletics for this week is the basketball team.
Yes, it is. Couple of news, both on court and off the court. Firstly, Marcus Garrick, freshman guard, co-newcomer of the week following his game against Tennessee State. He had 10 points, 10 rebounds, a double-double. Good game for him. Also, both guards, Malik Newman and Devontae Graham, on the Woods and Award preseason watch list now as well. Obviously, it's something that Frank Mason won last year, unanimous votes. But a lot of excitement off the court for KU. On the course, recently they just beat Kentucky 65-61. Very grindy game. It slowed down second half. It was more, who wanted to win at that point. Yeah,
it wasn't Devontae who was the big playmaker in the game, only going 3 for 14 shooting with 11 points. Although he did not have the game that he would want to have against Kentucky, he's still the leader of this team. The team still looks up to him. But the player that I really thought had the biggest impact on the game was Udoka. Last week I talked about how this year is going to be the year of the big man, and Udoka went 13 points, 5 for 5 shooting, and the really impressive thing to me is he played 34 minutes. Last year, if you were to tell me Udoka would play 34 minutes and not get into foul trouble, I would have said you're crazy. But his presence in that game, he made his shots, and the biggest thing was he caused fouls. He made Kentucky foul, and so I really want to see KU utilize Udoka more because with his presence inside, he's just too big. You can't stop that guy.
Yeah, and you mentioned Udoka did play 34 minutes as well. Part of that is KU's really playing a 6-man rotation, 7-man with Mitch Lightfoot. So heading into the game tonight against South Dakota State, which it tips off at 7:30 p.m. I think we'll see a lot of Marcus Garrett. He only played 19 minutes in the last game, second least, ahead of Mitch Lightfoot. So, tired legs, South Dakota State. I think we'll see a lot of Marcus Garrett tonight.
Yeah, and before we head on, you mentioned Mitch Lightfoot, and with Billy Preston, the big issue with KU basketball right now. In my personal opinion, this needs to get figured out as quick as possible because Mitch Lightfoot, I'm not going to call him a bad player, but he does not step up to the plate like Billy Preston and all these other players on the team. So I think once this issue with Billy Preston is resolved, I think on the court, it's going to look a lot like a much better KU team than it is right now.
Yeah, and Billy Preston is one of those 2 good big men for KU. You've got Udoka and Billy Preston, they're the 2 inside presences, which then leads on to good recruits coming into KU next year too, and possibly one of those recruits, Silvio De Souza, could be eligible for next semester. He's a big man, he's a forward. So, we have a couple of things to say about the recruits, so if you want to lead us into that, Jake.
Yeah, Quentin Grimes had just committed to KU. this is a big add-on to the team for next year. His presence is unmatched. He's I'm not going to say NBA ready, but he's one of the top players for next year that's potentially going to be NBA ready. Right now he's averaging 34 points a game in his senior year. His dribbling skills are unmatched, and KU's backcourt next year is going to be just as powerful as it is now and was last year with Frank Mason, with Quentin Grimes, and Devon Dotson, and I'm really, really excited to see it.
Yeah, I was. You mentioned a few things in there. Grimes, definitely college ready, so not NBA ready just yet, but he's one of 2 guys I expect to walk into this team next year along with D'Souza. But he's going to be one of the premier quality perimeter guys in the nation next year, really, I think. So I think with him, and you've got Doxson as well. Yeah, also, you've got Vic and Garrett, all these guards. I think Bill Self's going to have a lot of fun next year playing even a 2-point guard system with both Grimes and Doxson.
Yeah, I'm honestly, we're 2 games into the season this year. I'm already so excited for next year. It's going to be a great season for KU basketball. It could very well, if everything from on paper plays out to on the court, I think next year could very well be the year KU makes that final push, gets into the Final Four, and potentially, hopefully, wins it all.
Yeah, I'm not overly optimistic about KU sports. Usually don't try to be, but I'm feeling good about next year too. Another recruit we mentioned was Devon Dotson as well, 6'2" guard from North Carolina. And we talked how Grimes could be a premier quality perimeter shooter. I think Dotson could really be one of those kind of kind of a Frank Mason kind of player, I guess. He's able to drive into the lane, get into the paint.
Great spot up here as well.
But I'd like seeing out a bit more on the assist side as well, which is what we're seeing from Devontae Graham as well this season so far.
Tonight, KU, as we said, plays South Dakota State. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. And that's all we have for sports today.
Thank you.
Welcome back. I'm Olivia Jones and I have your KU weather update. Right now it's 60 degrees up here on top of the hill, but we have mild winds coming in from the southeast at 14 miles per hour. Our current temperatures right now, we are 60 degrees in Lawrence, it is 58 in Kansas City, and 62 in Manhattan. There's not much change all around Kansas, and it's quite a nice day pretty much everywhere. Today our high is 67 degrees, but we'll keep those low-hanging clouds and we'll warm up a little bit, but not too much, but it'll still be a really nice day. Going into our weather almanac. So the average temperature for this time of year is 53 degrees for the high, so we're quite a bit above that at 67 today. But our record high for November 17th is 79 degrees. Now looking at our 5-day forecast. Tomorrow our high is 52 and we have a 40% chance of rain in the morning hours, but that'll clear out by about 9 a.m. We shouldn't have any troubles for the game tomorrow because the kickoff is at 2:30. Going into the rest of the weekend and the early week, Monday is 58 and Tuesday we'll hit a cool 51 degrees for the high. The kickoff at KU is at 2:30 at Memorial Stadium. The temperature around that time will be 52 degrees and we will have northwest winds at 21 miles per hour. Fourth quarter will wrap things up around 6 p.m. Sunset is at 5:04 p.m. So it'll be dark when you get outside. You might want to pack a jacket. It'll be windy and cool. It won't be as nice as it is today. And that'll wrap up the weather. We won't be here next week, but we'll be back again in 2 weeks, so join us then.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Make someone's day. Pay it forward.
Welcome back to Off the Boulevard to our debate today. My name is Armand, debating on Chipotle's side.
And I am Elsie, debating on Qdoba's side. And yeah, so to give a little background information, Qdoba and Chipotle are both Tex-Mex little restaurant joints, both created in Denver, Colorado. Chipotle in 1993 and Qdoba in 1995, so there is a little time difference there.
Yes.
I guess we can just start off, and Armand, why do you think that Chipotle is better?
Well, I'll start off with the better one. Chipotle was made first, and Steve Ells, who's the creator, he really bounced off that American dream, because he...
Sorry, I just shouldn't be up there. Sorry, keep going.
He started the fast casual type of restaurant business, which fast food is your typical McDonald's, Burger King, and then you have your restaurants, which, you know, you go on dates, which I never been on, but like, you know, like the different sit-down restaurants. But then they found a middle ground, which is Chipotle, which you can go alone, which I have, which you can go on a dates, which I haven't, but you can do anything you want. And it's fast, you get in line, everyone knows that Chipotle works because everyone knows what Chipotle is. When you hear about Qdoba, people are like, oh, it's like Chipotle. They don't say Chipotle is like Qdoba. They compare it to the better, which is Chipotle. It started in 1993, and Steve Ells, the founder, like you said, in Denver, his idea was to start it as sort of a beginning to get into the restaurant business. But then he was like, whoa, this business is pretty lit, and it gained ground, and he got a lot of money. He kept it. They went internationally. They have locations in Germany and England. They have 2 locations in airports, and it just excelled to a $749 stock was their their high point. They have a $3.9 billion revenue, and I think statistically Chipotle is better. I think when depending on all these details, it's been roughly 24, almost 25 years, a quarter of a century that it hasn't just been existing. It has.
So wait, Armand, I'm just going to stop you. So first of all, Qdoba was created in 1993. 2 years after, 2 years after Chipotle.
Yes.
So they're not only newer, but they are better. So not only did they invent queso way before Chipotle did, Chipotle then started introducing queso, which is just a copy. They wanted to improve their company because they saw that Qdoba was skyrocketing and actually doing better, much better than Chipotle was. So I could touch on that a little bit more, but let me touch on the fact that Chipotle is so expensive, and Qdoba is just simply cheaper. You can get, let's see, $7 for 3 tacos is a steal. Chipotle, $8.20 plus $3.20 for queso and or guac. That's ridiculous. No one would want to pay that. That's over $10 for nothing. And not to mention that their cut on their burritos and their bowls are very sloppy. They get everywhere. I mean, I'm sure you've been there. We think we've all been there. And we know that it is sloppy. Qdoba not only cuts your burrito in half for you, but they have a clean cut. And they get everything really in the burrito so it's not spilling out after your first bite. I'd also like to introduce the fact that the bowls in Qdoba, they're much larger bowls. I mean, you have the bowls in Chipotle. They're thinner. They're more like
They're more sturdier. They hold things.
Well, I mean, if we want to talk about sturdy, we could talk about the Qdoba offers a very firm plastic top that sits over, it clicks on, and
They
it's
care
done.
about plastic. They don't care about natural.
But do we want to?
homegrown.
I mean, it's no competition to Chipotle's flimsy foil cover. It's almost impossible to get it all around. If you're having fun. You're not worrying about. You just want to click it and go. No, this one you have to undo, you have to tuck it under. It's so much more flimsy.
You're right.
It gets soggy, you know, like the film underneath. It gets kind of soggy.
You're right, but you said something about cheaper. Do you get your clothes from the dollar store? No, you don't. because it's cheaper.
I'm a
and,
firm believer
and
in shopping at Goodwill, discount stores.
So you're wearing all Goodwill clothes. No, you don't. Cheaper is not always better. And Chipotle is not that. Chipotle is actually the same price.
Chipotle's not the same price.
And
Qdoba's better, but that's all it looks like the time we have for
looks
today.
like if you guys can vote on Twitter at OfftheBlvd to see which one won. You can also follow at Persia's Greatest because I will retweet it and it'll be Chipotle or Qdoba. Thanks for
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
watching Off the Boulevard today.